The Sun have the 3 spot. They've been considered a top team in the league all year, a contender.
Mhm.
And you said all they would have to do is win out and the Sun lose out.
Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever just made the playoffs for the first time since 2016. That's crazy, right? But here's the thing, they're up against some tough teams. Can Clark's rookie magic be enough to save them from a playoff nightmare? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Let's talk about how this season started. The Fever were 1-8. Imagine being a fan watching that. It's like, here we go again, but then something wild happened. They turned it around. They won 20 games. That hasn't happened since 2015. What changed? Was it Clark's arrival, the team chemistry, or did they just find their groove? But you know what's even crazier? Making the playoffs is just the beginning. The real test? It's coming up fast. These other teams are no joke. They've been here before. They're hungry. So the question is, can the Fever keep this magic going when it really counts?
And look, Caitlin Clark just recently said, they're not here. They're not just happy to be here.
Or will their Cinderella story end before midnight? The clock's ticking and the Fever's fate hangs in the balance. But forget about the team for a second. Let's talk about Clark. She's a rookie sensation, no doubt, but playoffs? That's a whole different ball game. Can she handle the heat when it really mattered?
Yeah.
They're not just happy to make the playoffs, okay? We believe we can compete with every single team that's in the playoff. I don't know. I would just be a little bit more concerned about them actually versus the Fever than the Storm.
Caitlin Clark's rookie season has been nothing short of spectacular. She's not just breaking records, she's shattering them. Clark smashed the WNBA single-season rookie scoring record, racking up a mind-blowing 744 points. That's more than Simone Augustus, who held the previous record. And get this, Clark's not just a scorer. She's dished out 2 triple-doubles in her rookie season. Talk about making an impact. But here's where things get interesting. Despite all these incredible achievements, some people are raising eyebrows. Vicki Johnson, a former WNBA player, dropped a bombshell. She said, "I think that Caitlin Clark is still adjusting to the WNBA. She has not yet fully adjusted to the league." Whoa, that's a pretty bold statement about the rookie phenom, but is Johnson onto something? Let's break it down. Clark's scoring like crazy, sure, but her three-point shooting? It's sitting at 32.8%. Now that might sound good, but here's the kicker. In college, she was nailing 37.7% from beyond the arc. That's a big drop, and in the playoffs, when every possession counts, that could be a problem, but don't count Clark out just yet. She's got confidence for days. When asked about facing tough playoff opponents, Clark didn't hesitate. She said, "We really feel like we can compete with every single team." That's the kind of attitude you want in a leader, but is confidence enough when you're up against playoff veterans? Here's the thing about the playoffs. It's a whole new ball game. The pressure's higher, the defense is tighter, and every mistake is magnified. Clark's been a star in college, no doubt, but the WNBA playoffs, that's uncharted territory. Can she handle the heat when every game could be her last?
Where if you stay in the 3 spot, you would match up with the Indiana Fever, or playing the Storm, where if you drop to the 4 and the Aces decided to win out.
There's good news though. As the seasons wound down, Clark's been stepping up her game. She's taking better care of the ball and making smarter shot selections. That's huge for a rookie heading into the playoffs. It shows she's learning, adapting, and growing. But will it be enough? Just when you thought the Fever were heating up, they're about to face their toughest challenge yet. The playoffs aren't just another game, they're a whole new battleground, and Indiana's first opponent. They're not just good, they're the stuff of nightmares. Enter the Connecticut Sun. This team isn't just a roadblock, they're a fortress. The Sun have been dominating all season, and now they're standing between the Fever and their playoff dreams. It's like the basketball gods decided to throw Indiana into the deep end right from the start.
And I just don't think they want to get into a pace and running game with Indiana. The same thing I said about the Aces, and that's in part why the Aces beat them.
But here's the thing, the Fever aren't the same team they were at the beginning of the season. Remember that 1-8 start? Ancient history. These girls have been on fire, climbing their way up to the 7th spot in league defense. That's huge. But against the Sun, it might not be enough. Let's talk offense. The Fever are lighting up the scoreboard, ranking 2nd in the league. How are they doing it? 2 words: Clark and Mitchell. These two have been dropping 20+ points like it's nothing. Game after game, they're proving they can hang with the best. But the Suns' defense, it's next level. They're not just gonna let Clark and Mitchell waltz in and score at will. Now, don't count the Fever out just yet. They've got a secret weapon, Coach Christy Sides. This woman just snagged WNBA Coach of the Month, and for good reason. She's the mastermind behind the Fever's turnaround. Under her leadership, this team has gone from bottom feeders to playoff contenders. That's no small feat. But here's where it gets real. The Fever have shown they can beat top teams. They've done it before this season, but the playoffs, that's a different animal. The pressure's higher, the stakes are bigger, and every possession counts. Can Sides prepare her team for this intensity? The Sun aren't just gonna roll over. They've been here before. They know what it takes to win in the playoffs, and they're gonna throw everything they've got at the Fever. It's going to be a battle of experience versus momentum, of proven champions versus hungry underdogs. You know what's crazy about the playoffs? It's not always about who's got the best record or the biggest stars. Sometimes it's about that secret sauce, that special something that turns underdogs into champions. And the Fever, they've got something cooking in their locker room that might just be their secret weapon. Think about it. This team went from a 1-8 start to clinching a playoff spot. That's not just a turnaround. That's a total transformation. And it's not just about the wins. It's about the energy, the vibe. These girls are walking onto the court like they own it now. That confidence? It's contagious. But here's where it gets real. The Fever aren't just riding high on good vibes. They've got a strategy, and it starts with their rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. Yeah, her three-point shooting might be down from her college days, but that's not the whole story. Clark's got this ability to make everyone around her better. She's not just scoring, she's creating opportunities for her teammates. Imagine you're the Sun trying to defend against the Fever. You focus all your energy on stopping Clark, and bam! Suddenly, Kelsey Mitchell's lighting you up from the corner, or maybe Nalissa Smith's dominating in the paint. That's the Clark effect, and it's going to be a nightmare for any team they face. But let's talk about Coach Sides for a second. She's not just sitting back and letting Clark do all the work. No way. She's cooking up strategies to exploit every weakness in these stronger teams. Maybe it's a new defensive scheme. Maybe it's a way to use Clark off the ball. Whatever it is, you can bet the Fever are going to come out with some surprises. And here's the thing about the playoffs. They're unpredictable. Remember when the 8th seed Knicks made it to the NBA Finals in '99? Or when Leicester City won the Premier League as 5,001 underdogs? Crazy things happen when the pressure's on, and the Fever, they've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. But it all comes down to one thing. Can Clark lead this team when it really matters? She's been a star all season, but the playoffs are a different beast. The pressure's higher, the defense is tighter, and every possession counts. This is where we'll see if Clark can truly elevate her game and her team. Alright, let's talk about the Indiana Fever's wild ride. From a 1-8 start to playoff contenders, that's insane. But now, the real test begins. On September 22nd, the Fever step onto the biggest stage of their season. Everything they've fought for comes down to this. Caitlin Clark's been rewriting the record books all year. She's not just the highest scoring rookie in WNBA history. She's a game changer. But here's the thing, playoffs are a different beast. The pressure's on and every possession counts. So here's the million-dollar question. Can Clark and the Fever shock the WNBA world? Or will their Cinderella story end before the clock strikes midnight? We're about to find out if this rookie sensation can lead her team to playoff glory. The basketball world is watching, and the stakes couldn't be higher.